Let me tell you something uncomfortable. If small things still hurt you, if people's words still shake you, if disrespect, rejection, or silence still affects your mood, then you are not calm. You are fragile. And the Stoics would say this clearly. A person who is easily disturbed is controlled by the world. Why most people never become strong. People think strength means reacting fast, defending themselves, proving others wrong. The Stoics knew better. Real strength is not reacting at all, because anything that controls your emotions controls you. And if others can pull emotional reactions out of you on demand, you are not free. You are predictable. The Stoic definition of being unbreakable. Emotionally unbreakable does not mean being heartless, being rude, being cold for no reason. It means this: nothing external has the power to disturb your inner state, not disrespect, not loss, not silence, not chaos. That is Stoic power. Why calm people always win and loud ones don't? Look around. Who commands respect in a room? Not the loudest person, not the angriest one, not the one who talks the most. It's the calm one, the one who speaks slowly, the one who reacts last, the one who doesn't rush to explain. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. Calm is dominance. Stoic secret, Chapter 1. Introduction, not full explanation. Here is the first truth you must accept. You don't control what happens to you. You only control what it does to you internally. Most people fight the world. Stoics trained the mind, and once the mind is trained, the world loses its power. Why this video will change how you see life. These are not motivational quotes. These are mental weapons. By the end of this video, you will stop reacting emotionally, stop giving people power over your mood, start feeling cold, calm, and grounded, not fake calm. Stoic calm, the kind that makes people feel they can't shake you. The Stoic promise, strong rehook. If you stay with me until the end, you will understand why silence hurts more than shouting, calm scares emotional people, and why the unbothered man is always the most dangerous one in the room. This is not self-help. This is self-mastery. End of part 1. Hard rehook. Right now, you may think you're calm. You're not. You're just not tested yet. In the next part, I'll show you the first real Stoic rule that separates emotionally weak people from those who can't be shaken by anything. Stay with me, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here is the brutal truth most people avoid. You don't get hurt by events. You get hurt by the meaning you attach to them. Someone ignores you. Someone disrespects you. Someone leaves without explanation. The event itself is neutral. Your interpretation is what cuts you. The Stoics mastered this difference. They understood that the mind is the final gatekeeper. Nothing enters without permission, and most people give permission too easily. Why you feel weak even when you try to be strong. You tell yourself, I shouldn't care. I should be calm. I should let it go. But inside, you still react, because you are fighting the wrong battlefield. You are fighting emotions after they appear. Stoics trained the mind before emotions were triggered. That is why they stayed unshaken while others collapsed internally. The Stoic rule that changes everything. Here is the rule that makes a person emotionally unbreakable. Nothing has meaning until you assign it one. Read that again. Disrespect has no power. Rejection has no power. Silence has no power. Only the story you tell yourself does. Once you understand this, people lose their emotional leverage over you. Why calm people feel cold to others. Have you noticed this? Emotionally strong people are often called cold, distant, hard to read. That's not because they lack emotion. It's because they don't leak it. They feel deeply, but they decide what deserves energy. That decision-making ability is what scares emotionally reactive people, because they can't manipulate it. Stoic practice, mental distance. When something happens, the Stoics asked one silent question: is this happening to my body or to my opinion? If it's happening to your opinion, it can be changed. If it's happening to your body, it must be endured. Most suffering is imaginary. Stoics cut imaginary suffering at the root. Why most people never master this: because emotional reactions feel automatic. They feel justified, but automatic does not mean uncontrollable, it means untrained. Stoics treated the mind like a weapon. Untrained weapons are dangerous, mostly to the person holding them. The moment you start to feel unbreakable, something strange happens when you stop reacting instantly. People start testing you. They push, they provoke, they wait for a reaction, and when it doesn't come, they feel uncomfortable. Because your calm exposes their lack of control. Silence becomes louder than words. The Stoic shift inside you. You stop asking, "Why did they do this to me?" You start asking, "Why would I let this touch me?" That question alone changes your entire emotional posture. You are no longer defending yourself. You are observing, and observers are never controlled by the scene. Stoic truth. Most people never learn the world does not break people. People break themselves by refusing to let go of emotional attachment. Detach from outcomes, detach from approval, detach from reaction. What remains is calm, and calm is power. Hard Stoic reality. If someone can ruin your mood, they control you. If silence from someone hurts you, they control you. If words shake you, they control you. Stoicism is the art of taking that control back, quietly. At some point, every person reaches a moment where they realize something frightening. No one is coming to save them emotionally. Not friends, not family, not love, not time. And that realization either breaks a person or forges them. Stoics were forged here. Most people spend their lives running from emotional pain. They distract themselves, they complain, they numb themselves, they seek validation. Stoics did the opposite. They walked straight into discomfort because they understood one brutal truth: what you avoid controls you, what you face trains you. Pain was never the enemy in Stoicism. Dependence was. If you need people to behave a certain way for you to be calm, you are enslaved. If you need outcomes to go right for you to feel stable, you are fragile. Stoics aimed for independence from externals, not because externals were evil, but because they were unreliable. Here is where most people misunderstand emotional strength. They think being unbreakable means never feeling hurt, never feeling sadness, never feeling anger. That is childish thinking. Stoics felt everything, but they refused to obey what they felt. Emotion was information, not instruction. This is where the inner transformation begins. You stop asking, "Why do I feel this way?" and start asking, "What is this feeling trying to control?" Because every strong emotion carries a demand. Anger demands reaction. Fear demands escape. Sadness demands attachment. Stoics listened, but they did not comply. There is a moment, if you train this long enough, where emotional pain stops feeling personal. You observe it like weather. It passes, it rises, it falls. And suddenly, something terrifying happens. You realize how much of your past suffering was optional. Not avoidable, but optional. This realization hurts, because it means no one else was responsible. Not them, not the situation, not fate. Your mind was untrained, and that realization is painful, but also liberating, because what is trained can be retrained. Stoics did not build strength by positive thinking. They built it by negative rehearsal. They imagined loss. They imagined rejection. They imagined humiliation, not to suffer, but to remove fear's surprise. What no longer surprises you, no longer controls you. This is why Stoics appeared cold, not because they lacked feeling, but because they had already felt it in advance. So when life delivered it, there was no shock, only recognition. Most people collapse emotionally because pain feels unfair. Stoics asked a different question: is this unbearable or merely uncomfortable? And 90% of the time, it was just uncomfortable. The body survives it. The mind dramatizes it. Here is the harsh Stoic truth most people avoid. If you cannot sit alone in silence without distraction, you are not strong. You are dependent. Silence reveals weakness faster than conflict. That is why people avoid it. Stoics trained inside silence. They became familiar with their thoughts, so thoughts stopped scaring them. There comes a moment in this path where people notice something unsettling about you. You don't rush, you don't explain, you don't chase closure, you let things end unfinished, and that unsettles emotionally needy people. Because unfinished business is where they lose control. At this stage, emotional pain becomes fuel. Rejection sharpens you. Loneliness clarifies you. Disrespect teaches you restraint. You stop asking life for comfort. You ask it for strength, and life responds accordingly. The strongest Stoic position is this: whatever happens, I will remain intact. Not happy, not comfortable, intact. And a person who remains intact under pressure cannot be broken by opinion, loss, or chaos. If you feel colder now, good. Coldness here does not mean cruelty. It means clarity without emotion distorting it. Warmth guided by reason is far more powerful than uncontrolled empathy. Most people never reach this level because it demands something rare: letting go of emotional excuses. No blaming, no dramatizing, no victimhood, only responsibility. And responsibility is heavy, but it is also freedom. If you stay long enough in this mindset, you notice a shift. People stop provoking you, stop testing you, stop disrespecting you openly, not because you changed your behavior, but because your energy stopped reacting. And nothing frustrates emotional people more than someone they cannot move. This is not confidence. This is emotional sovereignty. And once you taste it, you will never go back. Eventually, you reach a point where something inside you goes quiet. Not numb, not empty, quiet. And in that quiet, you realize something most people never understand. You were never supposed to be protected from pain. You were supposed to be trained by it. Stoics accepted this fully. Most people break because they expect life to be fair. Stoics did not. They expected life to be indifferent. And once you stop expecting fairness, you stop feeling betrayed by reality. Betrayal only exists when expectation exists. Here is where emotional unbreakability becomes permanent. You stop needing closure, apologies, explanations, validation. You realize something dangerous. Nothing external owes you peace. Peace is self-issued. At this level, you no longer ask, "Why did this happen to me?" That question disappears. You start asking, "How do I remain intact through this?" That shift alone changes everything. Stoics didn't avoid attachment. They understood its cost. To be attached is to give something power over you. To love without attachment is to remain sovereign. This is why Stoics could love deeply and still walk away cleanly. Not because they didn't care, but because they refused to beg reality to behave differently. There is a moment when you stop trying to be understood. This is critical. Most suffering comes from the need to be seen, heard, validated. Stoics abandoned that need. They understood. If your peace depends on others understanding you, you will always be disturbed. Silence became enough. You also stop defending yourself. This shocks people. Accusations lose power when you don't rush to correct them. False judgments collapse when they are not fed. Stoics knew this. Truth does not require urgency, only insecurity does. At this stage, emotions still arise, but they no longer dominate. They knock. They don't enter. You observe anger without becoming it. You feel sadness without drowning in it. You experience fear without obeying it. This is emotional mastery. Most people live inside their emotions. Stoics stood above them, not repressing, not denying, observing. Now comes the final transformation. You stop seeking comfort, not because you hate comfort, but because you don't need it. Discomfort becomes familiar, and familiarity removes fear. What no longer scares you cannot control you. This is why Stoics seemed cold to the world, but inside, they were calm, and calm is warmer than chaos will ever be. There is a final Stoic realization that locks everything in. If you can lose it and still remain whole, then it never owned you. People, status, reputation, outcomes. You hold them lightly, not weakly, lightly. This is emotional unbreakability, not hardness, not arrogance, not isolation, but self-containment. You become a closed system. Life happens, but it does not enter without permission. At this point, something strange happens socially. People feel you before they hear you. They sense, you are not reactive, you are not needy, you are not desperate to be liked, and that unsettles them. Because most people live externally, you don't. You no longer need to prove strength. Your calm proves it. You no longer chase respect. Your restraint earns it. You no longer fear being alone, because solitude no longer threatens you. This is what it means to be calm, cold, wise. Not cold in cruelty, cold in clarity. Not calm in weakness, calm in control. Not wise in words, wise in restraint. If you have understood this fully, you will notice something right now. You feel quieter inside. That is not emptiness. That is space. And space is where power lives. Most people will never reach this state because it demands one thing they refuse to give up: their emotional excuses. Once those are gone, nothing can break you, and nothing needs to.